Hi everybody, welcome to Dulcimerica. My name is Futch, and it's such a lovely, gorgeous day. I wanted to share some of that day with you and our continued study of CGG tuning on the mountain dulcimer. Before we get deeper into that, I want to say hello to one of my patrons on Patreon, Carrie Spencer. Carrie, thank you very much for being a patron, and to all of my patrons, thank you for helping to keep this machine rolling every single day. Now, if you're wondering what Patreon is all about, it's a subscription service for my art, my music, video, tablature, and books. All of it you can get for $5 a month. Everything I've ever done, and everything that I'm doing right now, and everything I do in the future. So if you are interested in checking out Patreon, come on down here to patreon.com/bingfutch. Go to the featured tag section, download everything you find there, and hopefully you'll join up and become a part of my art. Again, Carrie, thank you very, very much. So I think I wanted to start off the new year with a look at one of the fundamental tunings of the mountain dulcimer, CGG tuning. This is very traditional. It also sounds really good being down in the key of C. It's a step lower than where most dulcimer players are these days, which is in DAD or DAA. And there's something about bringing that down a step that's easier to sing along with, and also you get a much richer sound out of the mountain dulcimer. What I'd like to show you now is we're going to go back over the scale for this tuning and for this key. And I'm going to show you how you can just kind of make things up and have a lot of fun with your dulcimer without having to study and learn and memorize a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to start off right now with the scale. So once again, we've got C on the bass string, G on the middle string, and then G on the melody string. The scale is going to start from the 3rd fret, and it's going to walk right up the fretboard using every fret except for the 6.5, and if you happen to have it, the 8.5. We're going to skip those 2 frets. Other than that, we're going to play 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 for the scale, which sounds like this. All right, and for those notes, we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C up here at the 10th fret. Notice how every single one of those notes sounds good against the backdrop of the G on the middle string and the C on the bass string. What we're sort of playing here is an open C major chord, although all we have are 2 notes of C major. A full C major chord would be C, E, and G. So we've got C on the bass string, we've got G on the middle string. We don't have an E if we strum open. But if we go C, D, E, and go to the 5th fret, and then keep our finger pressed down there and strum all the way across, we will now have C, E, and G for a full C major chord. Still, no matter where we go on that melody string using those frets, everything sounds really good. However, there are certain notes that sound a little bit better than other ones. As we keep going up, you can hear this harmony in between the melody note that we're playing and the notes that aren't changing, that are our drone strings over here. And what you'll find is the notes that are inside of the C major chord are the ones that are going to sound the best. They will sound restive, they will sound very relaxed and happy to be where they are. So those notes are C at the 3rd fret, E at the 5th fret, and G at the 7th fret. The other notes don't sound bad at all, but they also sound like they're not quite restive. They sound restless, like they want to keep moving somewhere else. Take a look at our 2nd note of the scale, D. It's got a really sort of unfinished, leaves you wanting more sound to it. Let's go ahead and move up to the fourth note of the scale, F. It's very pretty, but it just doesn't sound like it's quite resolved, like it wants to keep moving somewhere else. Let's go to A. Definitely sounds a little weird and like it wants to move someplace else. How about B up here at the 9th fret? That's the 7th note of the scale, and oftentimes it is that 7th note of the scale that is going to sort of really sound like it wants to go someplace else. It wants to resolve, and usually it likes to resolve to what we call the 1 chord, or the first note of the scale, in this case C. So listen to the resolution between moving B from the 9th fret to C to the 10th fret. That's what we call a resolution. And any of those notes that don't sound quite restful want to resolve somewhere. And normally, they'll want to resolve to notes that are inside of the actual chord. So if we go to our D, there you have resolution for that. Or we can resolve it up to E at the 5th fret. From restless to restful. This is one of the key things that will help you sort out how to play when you're kind of meandering about your mountain dulcimer without any sort of a roadmap whatsoever. If it doesn't sound like it wants to move, it's probably pretty cool just to hang out there. If it sounds like it wants to go someplace else, you can usually move just 1 fret to the left or to the right to get that nice resolution that we're looking for. So what does all this mean? It means that as you're moving around the fretboard, you'll pretty much be able to move quickly and all of the notes you play out of the C major scale when you're tuned in CGG are going to sound good. But if you want to hang out on a note for a long period of time, you want to hang out on one of the notes that are part of the scale. You don't necessarily have to, but it's going to sound more restful as opposed to restless. I call those lily pad notes. Every single chord with 3 notes in it, each one of those notes is a lily pad. And as you run through the entire scale over the top of that chord, those lily pad notes are the most comfortable places to chill out for a little bit and figure out what you want to do next. So before we get into hopping around the frog pond, let's talk about the right hand or the left hand for you southpaws out there. And let's talk about the kind of rhythm you want to do. You can do any kind of rhythm. You can just do a straight quarter note rhythm. And you can add a couple of extra 8th notes inside of that rhythm. Or you can go for the full 16th note rhythm like I have been doing here in these examples. And using different things like rests, or accents, playing things a little bit louder than the other things that you've been doing right next to it. All of that will give a lot of personality and energy to your strum game. Just don't think about it too much. Go with the flow. Just kind of keep this moving so that your left hand or your right hand can move up and down that scale and then find what's restless or what's restful. So here's one thing I'll do. I'll start moving over here. Notice I'm hanging out there on a lily pad note. Another lily pad note. So notice how every single note that I played sounded great with those drones in the background. But whenever I hung out for a long period of time and didn't change anything on the melody string, I was usually hanging out on one of those lily pad notes, one of the notes that are actually inside of the chord. That's going to be the first note of the scale, the third note of the scale, and the fifth note of the scale. So if you're ever in a different tuning and you're not quite exactly sure what the notes are, just start from the scale, find your first note, that's going to be a lily pad. Then go up 2 more notes to your third note, that's going to be a lily pad. Then go up 2 more to your fifth note, and that's going to be a lily pad for you to work with. Here's something else that's really cool about this particular tuning. We've got a melody string and we have a middle string, and they're both tuned the same. And with the Dulcimer's fretboard, oftentimes we're going to get these wide spaces that are whole steps in the scale. So all you have to do is whatever you're playing on the melody string, go back 1, 2 frets on the middle string, and that's going to give you a really pretty harmony to work with. So if you want to add additional color to whatever it is that you're playing, you can do something like this. So I encourage you every now and again just to get on your mountain dulcimer and simply play. What that's going to do is it's going to let you get yourself used to listening to where those notes are located, and also spot some beautiful little areas where you can bring in harmonies. And all of this stuff will stay right up here that you can bring to the fore when you're ready to start putting together your own arrangements of pieces, or if you want to make some of your explorations very, what's the word I'm looking for? Less happenstance and more purposeful as you're playing around. There are all kinds of other little tricks, but I think these are real good things to get you started off. Spend a lot of time with your mountain dulcimer, just kind of playing with it. Now, if you watched the last episode, you know I talked about the 3 basic chords you're going to find in every single key. The 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. And for the key of C, those are C, F, and G. Real quick recap on that. 203 is going to be your C chord. 313 is going to be an F major. And 102 is going to be a G major. And then on back to C. Now you can throw some of these in as well. Practice a bit with that, have some fun picking out some other tunes that just pop into your head, and before you know it, you'll be coming up with your own arrangements to songs, even though you might have just begun playing the mountain dulcimer. So I hope this has been helpful, and there's going to be a lot more fundamental stuff going on with this instrument in the coming weeks. Thank you again for tuning in, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you next time here on Dulcimerica.